Heading into Week 10 of the NFL season, the New England Patriots are one of 3 teams who still stand undefeated. But the Pats lost a huge piece of their puzzle last week against the Washington Redskins when running back Dion Lewis went down with a torn ACL and will be out for the rest of the season. They lose him just as they're gearing up to take on a team that has historically been their Achilles heel. We'll be taking a look back at the most memorable Pats-Giants matchups, and also we'll dive into the lack of quality quarterbacks around the league. All that and much more coming up on the NESN Football Update. Welcome into the NESN Football Update. I'm your host, Michaela Vernava, and to stay undefeated, the Patriots are going to have to do something that, quite frankly, they haven't been able to do in quite a while, and that's beat Eli Manning and the New York Giants. Tom Brady's only beaten Eli Manning once in his whole career, and Eli Manning has taken the last 3 meetings, 2 of them being those Super Bowl wins that Patriots fans have surely not forgotten. Our Ashley Allen is going to take a look back at the Pats-Giants rivalry, but first, let's check in with our Patriots beat writer, Doug Kyed.
Patriots face their biggest test of the season coming up here in Week 10 against the surprising New York Giants. Bill Belichick really touched on it this morning that the Giants are very good at forcing turnovers. Patriots obviously are very good at not turning the ball over, so that will be kind of a game of cat and mouse here for the Giants and Patriots. See if the Patriots can protect the ball, see if the Giants can force that out on defense. The biggest offensive weapon obviously is Odell Beckham Jr. Be interesting to see how the Patriots face off against Beckham since they don't have any other really great receiving threats in there. Patriots could either stick Malcolm Butler, who's been their number 1 receiver, on Odell Beckham, or they could have Logan Ryan shadow Beckham around the field and then have some help over the top from either Devin McCourty or Duron Harmon. Both of the Patriots safeties have been exceptionally good at protecting the deep half of the field this year, so I don't think that should be too much of a concern for the Patriots, but Beckham does seem to find a way to get open. Belichick really praised Odell Beckham's toughness on Wednesday, so he definitely is not afraid to go over the middle of the field. Patriots also will face off against an old friend, Shane Vereen, that pass-catching back for the Giants. Patriots really haven't had to face off against a great, speedy, shifty pass-catching back so far, so a lot of that responsibility will be on Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins, if he can play in this game, to protect Shane Vereen out of the backfield, make sure that he doesn't go off for any long plays. Patriots will also have some more help there from their safeties, Patrick Chung and Devin McCourty. Patriots obviously very used to going up against Shane Vereen in practice for 4 years, so they'll definitely know what he can offer to the Giants offense.
Tom Brady and the Patriots have lost the last 3 games that count against the Giants, 2 Super Bowls, and a regular season game in Foxborough in 2011. New England's second Super Bowl loss to the Giants hurt really bad, but the first one, that was a killer. The 2007 Patriots had one of the fiercest teams the NFL had ever seen, but when winning mattered the most that Sunday in Glendale, Arizona, Brady was under constant pressure and was held to a season low of 14 points, falling to the Giants 17-14. So can the Big Blue once again be the first to add a check in the Patriots' loss column? The answer? Possibly. This year's Giants team is pretty average, but they have a few things going for them, namely their wide receivers. Odell Beckham Jr. and Ruben Randle have 95 catches for 1,183 yards and 10 touchdowns between them. And just as impressive is how accurate Manning has been getting them the ball. In 4 games prior to the win over Tampa, Manning was 26 for 34 throwing to Beckham and 17 for 26 going to Randle. On Sunday, he was 9 for 17 going to Beckham and 5 for 5 targeting Randle. So yes, Sunday's matchup will provide a challenge for the Pats secondary, but Tom Brady, on the other hand, should have an absolute field day. Opposing quarterbacks have already thrown for 2,772 yards against the Giants. Sounds bad, but the number isn't all that surprising considering the entire Giants D has a grand total of 9 sacks so far this season. To put that in context, Chandler Jones has 9.5 on his own. Yeah, not good. The possibility for Patriots heartbreak is definitely there, but so is the possibility for redemption in a very big way.
All right, well, it's time for some power rankings. I'm alongside Mike Cole. And Mike, heading into Week 10, who's rising in the rankings?
The Minnesota Vikings. They've moved into a tie for first place in the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers. They're 6-2. I love their defense. Mike Zimmer's done a terrific job there. I like what they've done a lot. And again, it starts with Adrian Peterson on offense, and if Teddy Bridgewater's healthy moving forward, I like what they can do. Although they haven't really played anybody yet, so we're going to have to see. They're going to get the Packers twice in the next few weeks, so we're going to have to see what they're really made of. But for now, I like what they've done.
All right, well, who's on the decline?
The Atlanta Falcons, one team that I was actually pretty high on to start the season. But the thing is, you go back and you look at weeks 1 and 2, they beat the Eagles, who couldn't kick a field goal, and then they beat the Giants, who couldn't figure out how to use a clock. So that was an issue. So they haven't really beat many teams in the last few weeks. They've started to turn the ball over a lot more, and Matt Ryan just isn't playing as well. The first 4 weeks, he had a quarterback rating of about 101. The last 5 weeks, he's down to about 86.5. So he's not playing well. They're turning the ball over, and they're starting to play some tougher teams. So, I think that team still makes the playoffs, but they're just not as good as we all thought they were.
All right, well, I assume the New England Patriots are at number 1, so let's not waste any time on the obvious, but who's number 2?
Cincinnati Bengals. I think the big question for them was how can they do in prime time. It's not really Andy Dalton's cup of tea, or at least it hasn't been the last few years. They absolutely beat the crap out of the Cleveland Browns and look good doing so. So I like what they've done so far. Again, nobody's really going to believe in them until January, but for now, I mean, it's tough to argue with the results.
All right, thanks, Mike. For the full analysis, head over to NESN.com.
Hi, I'm Nick Goss in the NESN studios. I dug through your fantasy football mailbag questions, and the first one we're going to look at today is from Danny on Twitter. He picked up Wes Welker. He wants to know if it's a good or a bad idea. I think that was a bad idea. Sorry, Danny. Wes Welker hasn't played since last season. He's coming into a St. Louis Rams offense that ranks dead last in passing yards per game. Rams quarterback Nick Foles hasn't thrown for more than 200 yards in a single game since week 1, and he's averaging less than 1 touchdown pass per game. That's not exactly a situation where Welker can be fantasy relevant. Our next question is from Ricky via Facebook. He wants to know if you should start Brandon Cooks, Jeremy Maclin, Michael Crabtree, or Emmanuel Sanders. My choice here is Michael Crabtree. He has 7 catches on 12 targets for more than 100 receiving yards each of the last 2 games. He also has 3 touchdowns in that span, including a 2-touchdown performance in Week 9 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Raiders quarterback Derek Carr is becoming a QB1 with a breakout season so far, and Crabtree is a must-start every week. He's the guy here, no question.
Over the past few decades, football fans have been blessed with watching prolific passers, but the NFL's elite are only getting older. So what is the game going to look like when this generation of quarterbacks passes the torch on to the next? Well, so far, all signs point to different, to say the least. Recently, teams have trended toward placing their franchise into the hands of a mobile quarterback. But a QB with a good ground game has yet to be the proven key ingredient in the recipe for enduring success. Of these young quarterbacks, only one has won a Super Bowl. And at that, many would argue that the Seahawks' defense and rushing were the driving forces that hoisted the Lombardi for Seattle. After all, the MVP award landed in the hands of linebacker Malcolm Smith. Andrew Luck was thought to be the next up-and-coming great. That is, until he hit the brick wall that has been 2015. So is he just out of luck? No, more like he's taken a few too many beatings. Proof that scrambling outside the pocket does not equal sustainability. He's already been out with injury this season, and now he's sidelined again. Of 293 passes thrown, the Colts signal caller has averaged just 6.4 yards per attempt and has completed barely over 55% of his passes. The only starter with a worse completion percentage? Cam Newton. Newton has carried, or rather rushed his team to an 8-0 record with a completion percentage of just 53.7. Newton has had 73 carries for 343 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns on the season. In his career, Newton has rushed for an impressive 38 TDs. But until rushing touchdowns can be converted to championships, the question remains, what is the future of the NFL? The likes of Andy Dalton and Ryan Tannehill can be best described by one word, and that's inconsistent. So as it stands, the best answer looks like it lies in these guys. So far, the numbers are more or less there, but because of the small sample size, it's simply too soon to tell.
Khatchaturian here to give you some picks. We're going to get to Jackson's in a bit, but first, here's a lock and an upset for Week 10. For my lock, I like the Oakland Raiders over the Minnesota Vikings in the Bay Area. The Raiders are averaging a league-high 6.9 yards per play over the last 3 games. Plus, Minnesota's a different team on the road. They're undefeated at home, but just 2-2 away from Minnesota, with wins coming against the lowly Bears and Lions. For my upset, I like the Arizona Cardinals over the Seattle Seahawks in the Pacific Northwest. Carson Palmer should be an MVP candidate. In the battle of 2 strong defenses, I'm going to take the more consistent quarterback, Palmer, who's 12-2 since the start of last season. All right, now let's send it to Michaela, who's with Jackson for his pick of the week.
Well, it's week 10 of the NFL season, so you know what that means. It's time for some picks with Jackson, and this time we're doing picks with sticks. This week's matchup is the Arizona Cardinals versus the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to throw these sticks and see which stick Jackson picks. Jackson, are you ready, man? Are you ready to pick a game? Ready, man? Ready? Go get him. Hurry up. What is it? Oh, was it the Seahawks? It's the Seahawks. He's got the Seahawks. Woo! That'll do it for the NESN Football Update. Make sure to check back in next week. And for all of us here at NESN, thanks for watching.